Hi, I'm Brett Judd,
I'm Gina Judd.
and we're the Love Entrepreneurs, where love and business thrive. When we make these videos, have really been trying to just kind of put it out there and show you just how real it is sometimes. That even though, as professional therapists and really ones who know the skills and the concepts that should be able to make this marriage a fantastic experience, which it is, we even step into it and
Which it is.
it is. But sometimes running the business together and so connected all the time can really be a difficult thing, and it sparks things off once in a while.
That's why we started the Love Entrepreneurs, because we have skills, we're therapists, and yet sometimes it feels like we can't use them very well, even in our own relationship. We hit
Right.
the same snafus, we have the same feelings, we have the same disconnections that anybody else, any of our clients feel, and sometimes that's magnified by also being in business together, working together to run a business. And so that's why we started the
Right.
Love Entrepreneurs. We know we're not the only ones who are struggling to balance a family, a relationship, a
Mhm.
business. And so we're trying to be more transparent here about here's the principles that we fall back on when we're struggling. And so today we're going to tell you a story about just that.
Where we sparked it off. So you said sometimes, running a business can be difficult. I think most of the time, when you're in a relationship together and you're running the business together, it's difficult, and you're always at danger of being on each other or at each other, and the pressures come. And I think that's maybe what was happening before. So right before we were getting together to put this video together, and come out and talk to all of you, I came into the office. I'd been out here getting everything set up, and I went, "Where's Gina? What's going on? What's happening?" And you said something to me once before, and I think this is where little things that get said stick. That doing the videos, doing the podcasts, just doesn't excite you, and you're just not excited about getting on camera, getting on the mic. And so here I was getting everything set up, and I'm like, "What is she doing?" And that little thought just crept in, and it started working around. And I thought, she's avoiding this. I'm out here trying to get things set up, and she's in there avoiding it, doing anything she can. And I came in just to check in. And all I was trying to do was say, "Hey, what are you working on? What are you doing? Are we going to do this?" And the way that I said it, or something about it, just really set you off. And you said to me, "Man, I just felt scolded."
Because when you're in a love relationship, when you work this closely together, business wise, and this closely together, romantically wise, there's all kinds of undercurrent that we're tuned in.
Lots of
So even though you didn't say it, even though you weren't even going to bring it up, the fact that you felt a little abandoned, like, I'm here trying to get ready, and where is she? She's leaving me alone.
Right.
She's avoiding this.
Right.
I picked up on that. I really think that's what was happening.
Yeah.
And I picked up on it, and I responded with, "Why are you scolding me?
Yeah.
I'm in here working. I'm not abandoning you." Defensiveness, my enemy.
Right. Well, I think that's the piece right there when we talk about the principles. Most of our couples and most of our business couples that we're coaching and we're mentoring, it's that moment right there that we seem to spend a lot of time with. That's a place where usually we bounce off each other as couples, and that spark happens, and you recoil, and you're like, "Well, I don't want to be near you anyway." When the reality was, I went in saying, "Where are you? I want to get this done, and why aren't you out here with me?" And so that principle that we really need to get in and talk about is, how do you stay connected when your partner checks in with you? How do you stay in tune with each other and not get offended?
How do you handle that recoil?
Right,
Is that what you're saying?
right. Because when I came in and I sat near you and I said, "What's going on? It seems maybe like you don't want to do the video, or you avoiding." You were looking up stuff to talk about on a totally separate topic, which we'll get to eventually. But you heard me checking up on you. You heard my
I heard criticism,
criticism.
and I responded to that.
Yeah.
But that wasn't really what you were intending to share.
No, it wasn't at all.
So what do you do when there's disconnection?
Right.
How do you handle it? Here's the first thing is, how do you know when it's there? And for me, I feel it immediately, whether it's legitimate or not, because sometimes I can feel disconnected and you're still very much connected. When you trigger one of my issues, one of my baggages, then I feel disconnected, and until I respond to you with my disconnection, you may not even know.
Right.
Or you might sense it immediately. But I know in myself, I sense it immediately. It feels like my heart just kind of shrivels right up, and it's like a cold breeze just blew past me while I was sunbathing on the beach. I feel so exposed and so alone is really the feeling.
Well, exposed, I think, is a good word, because that does expose a lot of our inner hurts. And all of a sudden we do feel very, very exposed, which is one of the reasons for me that I tend to recoil back. When I think I'm in trouble or that I've done something wrong,
Never in trouble.
I feel exposed, and those little tender pieces, that are saying, oh, run away, hide, are grabbing and pulling back. And it's really hard to stay in the moment. And so one of the things that we work really hard to do, and this is the core to this thing we want to get out to you, is don't let that misinterpretation, that misconception in the moment drive you away. My whole aim whenever that happens to me is to step into you, really. It's not what I meant. That's not what I was trying to do. Here's what I wanted.
And sometimes that's helpful, and sometimes it's not. So we're going to talk about 3 steps to how you can effectively address the disconnection. Now, every couple has to fine-tune this for themselves, but it's easier if you have at least a map. So the map for us, the map of connection principles that we use, are 3 steps. Step number 1 is check it out. If you're feeling that cold blast of sudden emotional climate change, check it out. Say to your partner, like you did, what did you say?
Well, even this morning is another time I said to you, are you okay today? Because I was feeling, as we were coming into work today, that maybe you were a little bit upset, maybe you're a little closed, maybe there was something going on. And I just checked in. I just kind of reached in and went, are you okay today? You seem like you're upset. And I took that vulnerable stance of stepping into what might have been a landmine and asking you, are you upset?
So sometimes it takes courage to check it out.
It does take courage.
Okay, that's good. And what's the second step?
The second step is to not be offended. So earlier when I was in your office and you said, it feels like you just scolded me, I had to be very careful to not let that offend me, to not take offense, but to say, wow, that's not what I was trying to do at all. I'm sorry if that's what came out. And it's very easy when our partner gives that open, honest reflection to get offended. And really that's
because of that risk that it is taking.
That vulnerability that we just opened up.
I'm going to step into something that looks like it could be uncomfortable for me, especially if I find out I caused something.
Right.
But you matter enough to me for me to check it out. And I want to know, really, at the bottom of it is, even if it's hard for a little bit, I want to know what those landmines are so I don't trip on them, so I don't end up inadvertently blowing you up, so to speak.
Right.
And I want to know where I've hurt you so that I can bring that blanket or that bandage so I can address it, so I can fix it. Those are all you-focused things. If I can get off of my own immediate reaction and remember my goal, which is what are his landmines and where does he need comfort, that keeps me pulled in with openness and without judgment or shutting a door.
Right. Which I think steps right into the third step is listen for how you have or how you are affecting your partner. Keep that listening ear open and be in touch with that. Say, how is my attitude, my word, my demeanor impacting you?
Which is the hardest thing for me, because when I hear how you're feeling, I want to fix it, I want to make it all better, I want to tell you, no, that's not what I meant. But that's not what fixes it. What fixes it is if I can really hear, that really hurt you. If I can stay with you and hear and understand your pain, your frustration, your anger even, then I can stay reaching for connection. If I turn to defensiveness or explanation, then I'm focusing on me again. I'll get a turn. If I focus on you, inevitably you focus on me. And that's part of what happens residually as couples get better and better and better at these 3 steps. The more it happens successfully, the more confident you are that, guess what, this works, this is going to help, I can do this hard thing. And it becomes a synergy. It becomes, I can count on this, I know, I trust you, my view of you changes from the scolding parent to the guy who's concerned about what's going on for me. And that's really the power of this model that we have to work through and fight through just like everybody else.
Just like everybody else.
Because disconnection happens and it's uncomfortable. But I can tell you that if you follow these 3, if you make them your own, if you adopt them, over experience and time and success, it changes the framework of your relationship so that you can truly become the partners that you want to be, the partners that you have to be in order to navigate the entrepreneurial world together.
Which is a difficult world, especially when you're doing it together. But when you're doing it together, it is so much more fun, and really it's far more rewarding. And so, like we always say, the more love you feel, the more success you're going to have. And just leave you with that. I'm Brett.
I'm Gina.
And we are the Love Entrepreneurs.